Okay, so let's dive straight into 2 Samuel chapter 23 today.
Right. It's a fascinating chapter.
It really is. It presents us with this, well, this really striking juxtaposition, doesn't it? On one hand, you have what are described as the final poetic words of King David, like a spiritual testament almost.
Yeah, his oracle.
And then immediately after, you get this very granular list detailing the exploits of his toughest warriors.
It's quite the shift, like you said, from the mountaintop vision straight down into the mud and blood of the battlefield, all in one chapter.
Exactly. So our goal here in this deep dive is really to unpack these passages, try to understand their significance, maybe see how they connect, if they do.
And figure out what insights they offer, about leadership, loyalty, courage, that whole era of King David.
Absolutely. So let's start where the chapter starts, with the last words of David.
Okay.
The text frames it very grandly. It identifies him as the oracle of David, son of Jesse.
Right, grounding him in his lineage first.
The oracle of the man exalted by the Most High, the man anointed by the God of Jacob, Israel's singer of songs. So he's hitting all these identity markers.
Yeah.
Lineage, divine elevation, his special anointing, even his role as a psalmist.
And what's crucial right at the outset is his claim about where these words come from. He says, the Spirit of the Lord spoke through me. His word was on my tongue. The God of Israel spoke. The Rock of Israel said to me. So he's positioning this not just as his own wisdom, but as divinely inspired. It's an oracle, a direct message from God, essentially.
Yeah, that sets a very high bar for what follows, claiming divine authority for his insights on ruling.
Definitely.
And that core insight seems to be about righteous rule. He lays out the ideal, when one rules over men in righteousness, when he rules in the fear of God.
So it's not just about being effective or powerful, it's fundamentally about, character and relationship with God, that reverence the fear of God.
Those are presented as the absolute foundation for good leadership.
And the imagery he uses to describe the effect of that kind of ruler, it's really quite beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
He says such a ruler is like the light of morning at sunrise on a cloudless morning.
Ah, that feeling of fresh hope.
Like the brightness after rain that brings the grass from the earth. You can almost feel that, can't you? The relief, the refreshment, the life springing up.
Totally. It's not harsh, dominating power. It's imagery of life, growth, flourishing, suggesting that good leadership actually enables people and the land to thrive, like essential natural goodness.
A stark contrast to what oppressive rule feels like, which tends to crush things.
Right. And then after painting this ideal picture, David turns inward, reflects on his own house, his dynasty. He connects it to God's covenant promise.
Yeah, he asks that rhetorical question, is not my house right with God? Has he not made with me an everlasting covenant, arranged and secured in every part?
It's a bold claim, or maybe a statement of faith.
Well, it could be. He follows up, will he not bring to fruition my salvation and grant me my every desire? He's linking the destiny of his lineage, his house, directly to this everlasting covenant.
Which, of course, refers back to that big promise God made in 2 Samuel 7 that his line would endure on the throne.
Exactly. So is he claiming his house has been perfectly righteous? Or is he perhaps expressing faith that God's covenant faithfulness will uphold his dynasty despite the known flaws and failures? It's a bit ambiguous, but deeply personal.
It feels like he's resting on the security of the promise itself.
Yeah.
Arranged and secured in every part.
And then that contrast again. From the security of the covenant, he pivots to the fate of wicked men, the unrighteous.
And the imagery here is just as vivid but brutal. All to be cast aside like thorns.
Useless, painful things.
Which are not gathered with the hand. Whoever touches thorns uses a tool of iron or the shaft of a spear. They are burned up where they lie.
Wow. No gentle handling there. Just complete rejection, disposal by fire. It's a harsh image of finality for those who oppose the righteous way.
So that's the first section. This elevated vision. A divinely inspired king, talking about righteous rule bringing life, anchored in God's secure promise, and contrasted with the utter destruction of wickedness. It sets a kind of moral and theological framework.
Right, that's the ideal, the vision from the top.
And then, like you said, bang, the gear shift. The text grounds us immediately in the gritty reality of how that kingdom was actually defended. These are the names of David's mighty men.
We go straight from the oracle to the honor roll of warriors. From divine speech to battlefield achievement.
Then starts with this super elite group, the three. Their exploits are just incredible.
They really are almost legendary. First up is Josheb-Basshebeth. He's the chief of the three.
And his feat. raising his spear against 800 men and killing them in one encounter.
800. I mean, just pause on that number. The scale is staggering. It demands almost superhuman effort and skill.
It really does. Then you have Eleazar, son of Dodai. His story is about endurance, about standing firm.
Right. At Pasdamim, the Philistines attack. The Israelite army retreats.
But Eleazar stands his ground with David. He fights so hard, striking down Philistines, that the text gives this amazing detail. His hand grew tired and froze to the sword.
Can you imagine? His muscles just locked from exertion. But here's the key phrase the text adds.
The Lord brought about a great victory that day.
Exactly. It credits the victory ultimately to God, working through Eleazar's incredible, unwavering stand.
And the third one, Shammah, son of Agi, has a similar moment. Philistines are raiding, this time in a field of lentils, of all places.
The troops flee again. Seems to be a pattern.
But Shammah takes his stand in the middle of the field, defends it, strikes down the Philistines, and again.
And the Lord brought about a great victory. Same attribution. Human courage, divine enablement.
It's a powerful theme. Extreme bravery, refusing to break when others do, and the recognition that God was the source of the success.
But maybe the most humanizing story about the three is the incident with the water.
Ah, yes. David's longing for water from Bethlehem.
Exactly. He's in a stronghold. Bethlehem is apparently under Philistine control at this point. And he just sighs, perhaps thinking aloud, oh, that someone would get me a drink of water from the well near the gate of Bethlehem.
Just a nostalgic wish, maybe? A taste of home under enemy occupation.
But these three men hear it, and for them, the king's wish is, well, practically a command, or at least an opportunity to show their devotion.
So they do this incredibly dangerous thing. They break through the Philistine lines, get to that specific well,
Risking their lives completely.
get the water, fight their way back, and present it to David. It's an extraordinary act of loyalty.
And David's reaction is what makes the story so profound. He receives the water, but he won't drink it.
No, he pours it out as an offering before the Lord.
And listen to his reasoning. Far be it from me, O Lord, to do this. Is it not the blood of men who went at the risk of their lives?
Wow. He equates the water with the lifeblood they risked to get it. He saw the cost.
He understood the depth of their sacrifice for what was essentially his passing comment. He couldn't just casually benefit from that level of devotion. Pouring it out to God was the only fitting response, elevating their loyalty to something sacred.
That says so much about the kind of leader he could be and the bond he had with these men, recognizing the value of their lives above his own comfort.
Definitely. Now, moving beyond that core trio, the text lists other significant warriors. There's Abishai, Joab's brother.
Right. He's noted as chief of the three, which might mean commander of this elite unit, rather than one of the specific three just named. It's a bit unclear.
Could be. His feat was killing 300 men with his spear. He became as famous as the three.
But then there's this interesting distinction. It says he was held in greater honor than the three and became their commander.
But the text explicitly adds he was not included among them.
It's fascinating, isn't it? These layers of honor and distinction, fame, honor, command role, but still somehow separate from that very top tier, suggests a complex system of recognition.
Then you get Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, another valiant fighter known for great exploits.
And the exploits listed are pretty wild.
They are. Striking down two of Moab's best men sounds like key enemy champions.
Then there's the lion in the pit on a snowy day. I mean, the courage required. A lion trapped in the snow. Incredible bravery and strength.
Absolutely. And the third one fighting that huge Egyptian warrior.
Yeah, the details there are cinematic. The Egyptian has a spear. Benaiah just has a club.
He goes towards the guy with the spear.
Gets close enough to snatch the spear out of the Egyptian's hand.
And then kills him with his own spear. Just amazing skill and audacity.
And Benaiah's status is similar to Abishai's, but maybe even higher. He's as famous as the three mighty men, held in greater honor than any of the 30.
But again, explicitly not included among the three.
And David puts him in charge of his personal bodyguard.
Which makes sense. That role needs someone utterly trustworthy, incredibly capable, maybe distinct from the field commanders. It reinforces that these lists aren't just simple rankings 1, 2, 3. There are different roles, different kinds of honor.
And then the chapter rolls into the longer list, the 30, name after name.
Right, it's a roster. We don't need to read them all, but listing them matters. It shows the depth of David's military structure, the specific individuals who formed its core, often identified by father or hometown, giving them reality.
It emphasizes that the kingdom wasn't just David and a few superstars. It relied on this broader group of dedicated fighters.
And the list concludes by tallying them up. There were 37 in all, suggesting the top guys we've heard about are included in this overall number.
And of course, scanning that list,
Mm-hmm.
one name really jumps out if you know the rest of David's story.
Uriah the Hittite.
Yes. Seeing his name here, counted among these loyal, valiant men who served David so faithfully, often at great risk. It just adds such a layer of tragedy and, frankly, hypocrisy to what David later does to him.
It really does. It drives home that these were real people with real dedication, whose loyalty formed the bedrock of the kingdom. Uriah's presence on this list makes his later betrayal even more stark.
Okay, so let's try and bring these two halves of the chapter together then. We have David's lofty, divinely inspired vision of righteous rule, life-giving leadership, anchored in God's covenant.
Right, the ideal.
And then we immediately get this very grounded, detailed record of violent, dangerous exploits by the men whose loyalty and sheer toughness actually built and defended that kingdom. How do these relate? What's the message in putting them side by side?
Well, it highlights a fundamental tension, doesn't it? The beautiful vision of righteous rule needs. Well, it needs protecting in a dangerous world. The kingdom David envisioned wasn't sustained just by ideals. It required the fierce loyalty and brutal effectiveness of these warriors.
So the list isn't just a list. It's showing the human foundation, the grit and sacrifice, that underlies the lofty vision.
Exactly. It shows that leadership, even divinely blessed leadership, is absolutely dependent on the commitment and courage of those who serve it. These mighty men are the embodiment of the kind of loyalty that made David's reign possible for all its flaws.
And that recurring phrase, the Lord brought about a great victory. That connects the two parts too, perhaps.
I think so. It weaves divine action into the human effort. It wasn't just the men's skill or David's strategy. Their success was seen as divinely granted. It suggests a partnership, human courage, as the channel for God's purpose.
Which links back to David's reliance on God's covenant in the first part.
Precisely. And the water incident becomes almost a parable within the chapter, doesn't it?
How so?
It shows the intersection, the men's extreme loyalty and sacrifice for their leader, and the leader's recognition of the sacredness of that sacrifice, valuing their lives, their blood above his own desire. It's a moment where the ideals of leadership, valuing your people, meet the harsh realities of their service.
That makes sense. It's a microcosm of that bond.
So, this chapter, by pairing the oracle and the roster, gives us this really rich, complex picture of David's kingdom. You see the high ideals, the claim of divine backing.
But you also see the raw, dangerous, absolutely essential human element, the loyalty, the violence, the sacrifice that made it all function on the ground.
It's about the vision, yes, but it's equally about the dedication, often bloody dedication, needed to even attempt to live that vision out.
It definitely leaves you thinking about what holds any significant endeavor together. Is it just the leader's dream, or is it fundamentally about the people willing to risk everything for it?
And maybe that's the thought to leave with you, the listener. Consider that relationship between a leader's vision, however noble, and the raw courage of those who commit to serving it, sometimes at ultimate cost. What did it mean to be mighty or honored back then in that context of warfare and fierce loyalty? And how does that resonate or clash with our ideas today about what makes someone strong, or successful, or worthy of honor? It's a deep question that 2 Samuel 23 really pushes us to consider.